Hello, hello. Oh my goodness. Boom. There you go. Just put in my new, or they're not new, but put in my smaller Samsung headsets, thinking this is a better fit for the art stuff. It's not the big bulky headset. But one of them has like a little cover, and I can't find the little cover for the other one here, so it keeps like falling out, which is weird. Oh well. See, I wish. So every company nowadays makes headsets, but they make either the bigger like can headsets or they're the wireless earbuds that slip over and stuff like that. I need to find a decent company that makes like wired earbuds. Because all I need to do is just boop, hook them into, because my speakers, I have a 5 speaker setup with a subwoofer for my PC. And like the actual speaker itself has a headline or a headphone jack like right in there. So for gaming, it makes sense. You want the big bass and all that stuff. But whenever I'm painting and whenever we're doing this way I can still hear all the alerts and everything, but it doesn't echo into the mic. So I have to have something in so I can hear the stuff and do feedback, right? There's just not a not bulky big thing besides these. Like I could probably buy another pair of these Samsung ones, but they're like $90. Which is kind of silly. I don't mind spending 30, which even for a headset like this might be a little much. But like I need to actually look and see. You know what I mean? But welcome. Today's art stream. I'm actually in the middle of making this week's art video, like for the YouTube channel, and it's about dealing with artistic failure. Our Spider-Man painting that we did last week, kind of a failure. Not too, proud to admit it. Didn't go well. So how do you deal with that? It's taking a lot of editing. I do like 3 or 4 main points on like how do you know if a painting's not working, and then I do 4 or 5 points on like how to either avoid it or when it happens, what do you do? Like how do you deal with it? So it's going to be a decent video. I don't know how it's going to do like views wise. But I think it's a very specific video that we all kind of run into that problem where like we work on a thing and it just didn't turn out how we expected, or it just didn't turn out well, or maybe up to our standard or whatever the failure is. We feel like, man, this one just wasn't it. And how do you move on? How do you get past it? How do you learn from it? It's a decent skill to have because you're going to have way more failures than you will the successes. You know what I mean? So yeah, working on that. But now I'm in the middle of making the Wes Gardner 2026 brush pack. Like I only do 1 brush pack a year now. I try to make them pretty, pretty dense. Like a lot of good brushes that you can do a lot of things with. So I downloaded, I go out, I buy other people's brushes. I look at them, I kind of dissect them. How do they work? So we're going to be taking a look at a few brush packs today. But also while we're doing that is I have a bunch of Yoji Shinkawa art, Metal Gear. I have a Metal Gear poster here. I know all the stuff's kind of blocking it and it's out of focus. But I have the Metal Gear Solid 2 art print, or it's like one of those art scrolls, like the canvasy scrolls that can unwrap. I have that up. I love Shinkawa, of course. I mean, who doesn't? But there's a very specific thing I'm looking for in my Shinkawa studies lately. And it's pretty amazing. I realized, because there's very limited footage of him working live. He does a vast majority of his stuff traditional. He doesn't actually do a lot of digital art. He may do digital touch-ups and special effects and things like that. But the actual art side of it, he does with ink. He does with paints. And it's to that point now to where, you can have Rebel, you can have Art Rage, you can have the mixer brush in Photoshop, you can have Krita, have all these things that mimic traditional painting, but nothing really beats traditional painting. Whenever you go for that chaotic look, like how he has, you can only get it traditional. But that won't stop me from searching and using these like ink brushes and fluid brushes and mixer brushes to try to figure out You know, it's a very specific look that I'm after. And it's funny, not even every Yoji Shinkawa piece has what I'm looking for. Like, there's very specific things. So we're going to dig into that. This one's going to be a little, you know, I'll be very chatty. Well, of course, I love talking to you guys. That's the only reason I really do this live, is to hang out. But I'll try to explain it, because if I put words to it and I look at it, and I have a few pieces that aren't Yoji Shinkawa, but they have the thing. And I'll show you guys what that thing is. I'm going to talk about how to achieve it, how to get there. But like, it's different. It's one of those weird idiosyncrasy things. My brain latches onto it, and I'm like, how do I, this little pixel right here, what is this? Like, I get very beelined into it. Estimating your monitors. Oh, that's true. Trey Dog Greg. Hey, welcome everybody. Let's dig into this. Okay, so I'll show you what we're working with right now. So I got Photoshop up. These are going to be Photoshop brushes. I'm going to be using the mixer brush a lot. Let me move this over. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, our allergies have been terrible here in Central Texas. We got big rainstorms today. It's actually still raining outside right now. Let me show you guys this. Let me show you guys what I'm starting to get slightly kind of like obsessed with. All right. So I'm a big fan of Yoji Shinkawa. We've also talked about Ashley Wood. And wouldn't you know it, there's a video game series called Metal Gear Solid. And in Metal Gear Solid, Ashley Wood made the graphic novels for Metal Gear. Very painterly, very kind of, you know, very Yoji Shinkawa, impressionistic, a lot of romanticized, you know, anime kind of look, but very fluid, like ink washes, some thicker impasto paint for the Ashley Wood side of things. From what I find, Yoji kind of stays away from it. And he does it a little bit, but as you can see, like here, there's the ink, you know, you get the cool halftones and stuff that he brings in. But like, yeah, this is Ashley Wood. So you can see how they're related, but like, Yoji has the very traditional look, while Ashley's, I think, is even more stylized, if I were to put a word to it. But they worked on quite a few of the games together, mainly being Portable Ops. They also worked on the digital graphic novel, which is where they took the Ashley Wood art and made it like motion and stuff. And then my favorite look, which is Metal Gear Peace Walker, which is what a lot of these are from. It's very it's almost like braggadocious in a way, because like there's a lot of swagger to this art, and it's very dynamic. And we're going to be like doing the pause study, because I like the profile shot. Also a very sharp nose, which I found interesting. But there were actually 5 artists that worked on Peace Walker. And then we have more of the traditional stuff over here. So this is the stuff closer to what I'm used to. I can figure out how this works. This is a nice piece. I brought this up before, but I really dig this one. There's something about this one that I just really latch onto. But this actually has some of the things I'm going to be going for with the brushes that I'm looking at today. And we have the nice overlaid texture right here. So it looks like they started with a canvas. Pardon me. Started with a canvas, did their painting on it, then let some of the canvas still bleed through, maybe did another overlay layer. But you can see not completely opaque on the paint. You can see this canvas texture, or the canvas background, I should say, peeking through, which I think is, like here, no paint at all. But because you have a mid-tone canvas, it works. You know what I mean? So that cool stylized look. But then here we can get this look Not easily. This is still very tricky to do, but I know how to do this. Like this stuff I know how to do. I like keeping it slightly more wet and messy down here. And these are all digital, by the way. A lot of people will be like, oh, well, that's a real oil painting. This is also digital. Okay. So it's stuff to look at. But I think there is a Venn diagram of overlap between this and this that we can find. And I think, I think it might be close to this. You know what I mean? Because this is more painterly. But I love the edges, the angles. These are definitely ink brushes that they're using. And then like Yoji's work for Metal Gear Solid 5, which has the nice shapes and, you know, geometric stuff as well. Very sharp edge compared to some of the older stuff here. But very, very cool look. And then I'm going to move this over to the side. And you see here, I've already started kind of messing around. Did a canvas background. I'm repositioning. In here. Okay. Making the marks, doing the thing, getting the kind of smudgier smudges out, canvas texture background, right? So this is kind of where we're at. And then I have another canvas overlay layer to go on top of everything we're going to do. That. Merge that down. Background. We're gonna sketch. And then under that, in between the background and the sketch, we're gonna do our values. But you'll notice I have the Michael Adamidis brushes. I had brush pack number 1. This is brush pack number 2. I think a lot of these I'm not going to use. But I will be using some of the palette knives. I will be using, like, yeah, some of the flats. There's also, not the portraits, the dry oils. Because I think we could get some decent canvas texture stuff with some dry oils. And I know I had some people on YouTube requesting that they see how I make a brush. And this will be close to that. I won't be making the brushes with this. I'm just going to be going down some lists of other brush packs and be like, yes, yes, no, yes, yes. I'll know within 3 brush strokes is I can dial in. It's very much a feel thing. I've used tens of thousands of brushes with different digital programs. So I know within 2 seconds if something's workable or if it has a feature such as the brush tip or like the flow opacity or whatever that I can use and be like, yes, that one feels right. Let's save it for later. I'll even open up like a notepad and like write it down, you know? So we got, come over here. So I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this pause picture right here. And even maybe these like, there's Kaz. So, maybe the pause deal, bring that over. Okay. So I think we got these brushes right here. Let's start with the sketch brushes. Yeah, and see, this has a nice kind of dry tip, and especially with that canvas texture, it makes it look very, very good, you know. here it was like we brought her face down. Like comes up. It's an interesting nose because it's like not up top there. That. See, the anime style is not something I'm really great at, so it's like see, that's a little bit too much. Yeah, I need to make that quite a bit smaller then. This comes down. This comes up. Weird to like look at it to kind of see it. Need to get the forehead shape better. Yeah, Shinkawa is interesting. It looks like he takes the best of kind of his influences and really brings it in almost a gestural way. And this is like should have done the eye first, actually. This is how I used to draw. I used to do eyes first and then put everything around it before I started doing like Loomis method and all that stuff. So this is kind of a blast of the past. It makes total sense why I don't do it this way anymore because it's hard to do. It's hard to actually come in and like make the stuff around it. But in a weird way, this sort of does channel the Yoji Shinkawa stuff because he doesn't start normally when you work, you know, oh, you're going to make a sketch and then you're going to bring in some values or you're going to kind of decide what the lighting is and you're going to do all that. Then you know, work out your midtones and you make sure the highlight's good and then the shadows and then kind of build the form and all that stuff. Yoji's great because he starts with the shadows. He just completely does the shadows and then paints the midtones on top of the shadows. And then kind of just sketches out the rest of it whenever he sees it. Which is, you know, kind of an incredible way to work. And And like, and it looks like the chin is really, because I mean, Paz, who I'm drawing right now, she's 16, I think, in the game. So doing like a teenager-esque, you know, a little bit different than making an adult. Yeah, so the good news is this sketcher type brush is kind of what I'm after. The very kind of dry, slightly dirty texture. Because it works well for my style of where's that? So that comes up here. And see, this part's just kind of laying down what we're going to be experimenting with. So this part isn't even the experimental part, you know. Yeah, this is a good sketch brush. I like this one quite a bit. Back here. Eye still needs a little bit of work, but you know, and my whole thing is it's like I don't necessarily want to be like a complete carbon copy of Shinkawa. You know, I would love it. That'd be fun and awesome, but it's not really what the goal is. The goal is to find the stuff that I can use and like figure out the best way to use it. So that's sort of what we're doing here. So kind of the looser sketch, right? Because there are actually 5 artists that work on Peace Walker. And I think Yoji Shinkawa was like art director, and then they had Ashley Wood as a guest artist. And it's funny, during all the cutscenes, I can tell whenever it swaps over to Ashley Wood, because it's very similar, but there is the way he thinks about midtones and shadows and stuff is different. It's just different. So you can see it quick. But there's 3 other artists, and these other 3 artists had worked for Konami forever. And it's incredible how well they all like. That's what blows me away about Peace Walker. They all work so well and so like tight knit that it's very hard to tell who did what. Like, it looks like every artist did everything. Or, to be more clear, it looks like Yoji Shinkawa did everything, which he didn't. Which is why I'm like, oh, they figured out the method. Like, the other artists working with him figured out his style. So it's doable. It is doable to learn, you know, how to do it and where to focus and all that stuff. Like, super cool. But it's very shadow shapes. Like, shadow shapes are the number one thing. No question. I think Yoji Shinkawa, like, it's all based on shadow. In fact, with the light, he doesn't even paint it. Like, he usually keeps it negative space. You know, like here. But see, this could be one of the other artists. That's the other thing. I'm just gonna take that. That's kind of the deal. They just gel so well together. And it never looks cheap. That's the other thing too. They have all the cool lighting effects and stuff on it. Like, just rad. It's just a super cool way to work. You know, it has all the emotion you need. And like these, it doesn't matter what this is back here, but like, that's just awesome. It just looks cool, you know? Yeah, the backgrounds don't matter as much. Like, you can still infer there's a piece of paper hanging on the back wall. Here's some like wood palette paneling or something. This is very cool. And see like the rain coming down on the overhang at the house. The pre-outer heaven, outer heaven. It's just like, it looks great. Super sick. But you'll see with pause, here we go. So my thing, what I end up falling in the trap of, is I try to realistically think about rendering. Even if I don't render it all the way or whatever, I think about it insofar as, well, I need this softer brushes to do the more skin tone and the curves and the form and all that stuff. This is not that. Like, the highlight doesn't follow the sketch lines. I would be one of my, I think, faults as an artist is I try to think too literally, that I see, oh, well, here's this, and, you know, and this is where I think we actually fell into a bad spot with the Spider-Man piece from last week. I tried to follow the form too much. Instead of just putting an accent here to show, hey, there's a highlight around here. Doesn't matter really where it is. I tried to go in and, well, the form shows this, and if it's coming out here, it's going to catch the light like this. And that doesn't work too well unless you really go for it. But see here with the face, you see how there's a highlight here, and then a highlight here, but the highlight's almost like a zigzag. This doesn't even really follow the form of a face anyway. It looks awesome. And like the hair, the same thing. It's texture, it's just chaos. But because the values are correct and it still follows kind of the same rule where it's a little lighter on top, and then as the hair kind of curls under, you get a little darker, it still works. Because you as the audience, or we as the audience, have to fill in the blanks. It's like, that's why this works so well. That's why all of this works. And having the confidence to work in that way, have it be unfinished, but give the viewer just enough, that's hard. That's hard to do, especially on a pro project. It's one thing on your personal stuff to just do it and, hey, it looks good because I think it looks good. But when you're working with a client, when you're working with teams, you're working on $1 million projects, multi-million-dollar projects, to have the guts, like, that's what I mean. I said it earlier, and it's kind of silly, but like, it's almost like braggadocious. It's like, it's super confident. And some people, and what's funny, some people hated this art style. When this came out and Peace Walker came out, people were furious. Some people were furious because they were like, where are the cutscenes? What's all this comic crap? It looks terrible. It looks like they didn't even finish the painting. And I was blown away. I was like, the amount of knowledge to make comics that look like that is unbelievable. Like, in a perfect world, if I had $80 bazillion and my family didn't want for anything, we had everything paid off, and I could just dedicate 5 years of my life just to do the thing, I would try my best to make a comic like this. I would study, I would like, you know what I mean? This is the style that I would like the most, because I think it does everything. It's impressionistic. You're letting the audience solve their own puzzle, but it's still painterly in the way that you think, like the way that you're executing stuff. And like this, like, that's great. I think that looks great. You know. And like, it still has emotion. You have the best parts of all of it. You have the best part of painting. Look at our little cat buddy right there. Best part of painting, best part of comics, manga, and like the high dynamic illustration style. It's just so sick. So good. Anyway, let's continue our pause look. So this is where we can actually come in. Let me go ahead and make this. So you can see they stay in the lines. Here's something I noticed. Very good shapes, but they stay in, they don't break out of lines too much. Every once in a while, you'll see the stray halftone or like little bit of something come out. But you see the sharp edges and it doesn't stray outside of it, usually. Unless it's like a lost edge, like here. You know? So I think, and that kind of comes back to stuff like, it comes back to stuff like this, where this is more painterly, of course, but like the same thing kind of applies. You have the nice silhouette shape, and you don't really break it unless you're doing, you know, unless you're doing a softer edge, especially like this. I think that's why I like it so much. It's very contrasty. Like the shapes are solid. See, and yeah, like this one. This isn't actually wood, I can tell immediately. But yeah, the way he does it. But like even this lost edge, you can see the paint stroke, that texture right there, but it still follows the form. So yeah, a lot to study. Just, and like I love this. I might completely just rip this off one of these days. Like, I love the angle. I love the look. I love the face structure. It's a 3/4 look down. I do have flat. Yes. So, it's funny. I actually have his. I not only have his brushes, but I have his smudge brushes as well. So I have his 2021 set, which was like a mini set. And then, oh no, his 2021 set was his full set. His 2023 set was a small set of just his markers, which that might be a good shout. And then his smudge brushes are genius. I've actually used his smudge brushes quite a bit. And that's the other thing that we're gonna like. The smudge brushes, I think, and mixer brushes are doing a lot of heavy lifting. A lot of heavy lifting. So I am going to, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put in my flats here with pause. And then we're going to play around. We're going to play around. We're going to start like smudging some stuff here and there and try to make something that looks pretty substantial. Okay. So, sorry, I'm going to be sneezing and coughing all day. I already took cough medicine, but I'll try my best to like reach up. I have a mute button on my microphone, so I'm going to try that. But yeah, let me bring back the All right. So we have just white, gray, and red. And that's it, right? So that's what we're going to do. We are going to get like a Let's get a darker brush right here. Let's get filbert brush and start coming in here. Might have to get a brush that's a little let me just do this. Got that. Then we got like the slightly other gray here. I keep the eye white. Then we're gonna do that red. More rich on the red. This brush is pretty good. I like that it has the texture stuff kind of built into it, right? Alright, what's up, brother? Good to see you, my friend. We're gonna take this same... I need a portrait brush. Well, portrait brush necessarily, but let's see kind of what... I do like that it's smudgier. Anything that's a normal brush that has kind of a smudgy look to it, I dig it. You know? Like... Actually, this brush is really nice. Liking that quite a bit. Yeah. The secret to a good brush for me is this grid. No, so this is Photoshop. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at some brushes to start with. Well, I'm already in the middle of making my 2026 brush pack, but I'm also looking at other brushes to kind of expand it out. That I can like kind of dig into and edit, and it's actually pretty good. That one a bit. Let me jot these down. Notepad. Where is Notepad? Ready? What is this one? We are on... What brush is this? Full preset. What brush is this? God dang it. One of my pet peeves about Photoshop. What brush do I have on right now? I don't know. It's selected. It's not selected in the menu. If you go to brush properties, brush presets, nothing. Clear, clear. What was this one? See? No name. No selection. I think it was 2-2. Was it? I was gonna jot it down. I was gonna mark it. But drawing with my head turned to the side. Yeah, oh, I'm good. Thank you for the concern. But yeah, so I have 3 monitors. That's the other thing. I have my reference. So I have this, I love this program called PureRef. I swear by it. It's free if you have Windows. I don't know if it's for Mac. Mac might have their own version of it or something like it. But so I have all my streaming stuff, including chat, on this screen. But I can drag and drop stuff. So not only am I checking chat, I'm also looking at my ref right here. And then my third monitor, my main monitor right here, has all my, like, it's my 27-inch monitor. So it's my big one. I get browsers up. If I search something, then I can, like, drag it over. But yeah, I'm actually good. And also, I'm a keyboard guy. So I have all my shortcut keys on keyboard. So I literally, like, even whenever I'm working not on stream, this is how I work. I have my ref here in the middle. I can look up more refs or whatever over on this one. And then I'm painting over here. So I'm constantly like this. Like, I have my hand over here doing shortcuts and this and then doing that and looking over here. And so it's like it's chaotic. But, you know, it works. It is what it is. Which brush is this? Ain't that one? That's a good brush too. Really, a lot of these are going to be good. But I think having them kind of close is better. Let's do this. So that's kind of that's the only real annoying thing is, like, I find a good brush, I need to remember exactly what the brush was and what the name of it was so I can write it down. That way I can come back to it later. We have that, and see, the highlight sort of does that. Like, that's the highlight, right? Which is insane to me. Because I would never think to do a highlight like this and then be like, oh yeah, that's done. That was a thing that I learned in art school that I actually highly recommend to everybody out there, is if you want to do a really good master study of something, like, let's say you're doing a master study of, you know, Frank Frazetta or John Singer Sargent or, like, Yoji Shinkawa or something. What you have to do, and this is really powerful, okay? What you have to do, open it in Photoshop, open it in whatever your painting program is. And then just have it set there. And then what you need to do is you need to pretend. Pretend that this is your painting. Right? Pretend that this is the painting. What would your instinct be to fix? So, like, if I were to bring this over, if I painted this, if this is exactly what it was on my canvas, what would I fix? In my mind, I'd be like, well, I need to soften out. You know, if she's 16, she has younger skin, so it needs to be softer and smoother. So I need to get the soft brush and I need to come in and render out some of this. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very powerful thing, because if you set down a John Singer Sargent right here in front of you and you look at it, you're like, this isn't done. You would really want to come in, well, I'm going to smudge this, I'm going to blend that, I'm going to push that, well, and the color and the value and the blah, blah, blah. Your brain might start wanting to fix it. And that's the secret, is do not try to fix it. Start asking yourself, why did they keep it? It could be as easy as, like, a time constraint. It's good enough. It's better than good. It's good enough. And like done is better than perfect, right? That's the old adage, and I believe that full-heartedly. But like, why is this highlight shape so sharp on her face? Because it looks cool. That's it. That's all the reason. Because it looks cool. So that's kind of... So that's what we're going to be working with. It's like any of this stuff. Why are the highlights here? Why is the shapes like that? Why is there a little squiggle? Why is there a... Because it looks badass. That's why. Who cares if it's not annotated? Oh, you didn't get the texture of the thing. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. That's what I really need to learn from like Yoji Shinkawa and Ashley Wood. Get the thing that you need there and leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. You know? Yeah, I love good oil painting. Good oil painting brushes are my kryptonite. Like these are the, you know, this look. And like the thing is, I know how to get this look. I can get this look in quite a few different programs. I would say this is very much a Craig Mullins look. So this is not Craig Mullins. This artist's name is Josh something. I downloaded his, I gave him $5 and got his brushes. Joel Lagerwall. Let me write his name down. Here. Oh. All right. So yeah, this look, I dig it. I love it. I know how to do it. It's beautiful. I need to do more of it. It really comes down to mixing the right colors as well, having a Zorn palette, which is what all of these are. Almost monochromatic, but like that's very much a yellow ochre mixed with, you know, some sort of, yeah, not even really any of the reds, maybe here, just a little bit of the cad red, but yeah, really it makes some nice umbers and burnt siennas and all that stuff. A lot of black, ivory black right there, and titanium white. So yeah, I know how to do these, but it's this is very confident with the shapes, silhouette, shape-based, shadow shapes, you know, and there's some similarities. You can see the shadow shapes here, you know. Yeah, so it does. It does. That's a good shout. It's kind of this. You see the nose right here, and then the lip right here, and since the light is coming down, yeah, and it just looks good. Like it's a good look. So you kind of have that, and you can see I kind of started that. But yeah, that would be one of the first things you would do is you notice, oh, okay, yeah, that is a mirror shape. So then you can come in and you can modify, you know, do something like that. Yeah, you like build in that personality. That's true. That's absolutely true. A little bit darker up here. But really, a lot of this stuff is based on gradient as well. Like, ironically, I'm painting too much. I'm painting too much of this. It's less painted than this, you know? You know, and you got a sharp shape right here. And then you can kind of get that darker color right here. And then we come in, kind of get those brushes right here. But really where this kind of, it's almost funny because I can start seeing some like Leyendecker. But really where this one's gonna like pop is if we come over here. Who's Eldar Zakharov's, yeah. Let's get some inks. We really want to get that look down, boy. Check this out. You get some of this in here. You know, we have some canvas stuff, but then if we really want to get buck wild with it, make it look nice and sharp. You come in with these, yeah, and see, now you have this like texture variance where you have the fully opaque brushes, even if it has a canvas like tail on it. See what I mean? And it starts hiding away some of the other texture. It actually makes the texture more noticeable, which is a pretty important thing. And I think gets us closer to where we want to be. But you can do like a dry round ink, you know? Kind of do this, tilted filbert. And I think that's real, yeah, see this kind of dirty grime ink brush. I think those are the winners. You know what I mean? Like, I knew it had to do with ink. But, yeah, it's actually pretty, like, staggering how much it helps. So, ironically, the guy that doesn't do any ink drawings at all, expect some ink brushes in the new brush pack. You know? Because I think it's gonna, like, open up some avenues on how to solve some problems. And then if we, like... come over here. You know what I mean? You just do like a glancing blow. It's a nice glance here, right? I think what's really going to help it... Yeah, see some of these. That's good. It's funny. I already think it looks way better. Just with the little variance of... having some sharper brushes, getting the variance instead of like with tones and all that stuff. It's literally just change your brush. Work the same way, still do your technique, still do your thing, but like the brushes are different. The way we can kind of come through here, sharpen that up. A few more sharp ones right there. Now, I come over here. This one kind of big. Now, here's the... Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I think the difference between that opaque and the transparent canvasy bleed through stuff, that's super good. That's actually one of my favorite things about this one. You know, we showed it a little bit earlier, but you can literally see the canvas peering through and just a little bit of opaque hits here and there. Super smart. I have this artist's name saved somewhere. I follow, I think it's a her, I believe, on Instagram. There's a lot of these like soldier looks, you know? But yeah. So it's funny, in my brain, these are pretty related. I know the technique looks way different and the brush is used and all that stuff, but like, I can kind of learn the same thing from both, you know, because you got this nice pin swoop right here for the outline. to show the contrast of the helmet. And then like here you have the amazing swoops for the hair. Yeah, like there's a lot of similarities. I know the eye looks different. Now this is really gonna start taking off, all right? So a lot of people use the smudge brush in Photoshop. I don't really use the smudge brush. I use the mixer brush. So if I go ahead and I grab, let's go back to the Michael Adamidis ones. And like I said, this is brush pack number 2. And then we pick so many brushes. Oh my God. Let's pick the dry oil brush. This one's 4-4. But let's do a mixer brush tool. 4-4. You're going to see that I have a custom, oh, you actually can't because of, stuff up here. Let me, all right. So my mixer brush tool, custom wet 43, load 100, mix 53, flow 100, and then I have opacity turned on, right? So that's kind of my setting. It does change if there's presets for like, I know, who was it? John Park made a set to mimic Richard Schmid, who's one of my favorite oil painters. And it's a lot of dry brushes and dry mixing and stuff. The same thing as like Greg Rutkowski, a lot of dry brush. But here I like a little bit of the wet. And that way we can pick the image, the little, if you've never used a mixer brush before, it actually takes a snapshot around your cursor. So it looks at the picture. I don't know, it's very tiny. Oh yeah, and the recent donation button's blocking it. But whenever you do this, it takes a little tiny snapshot of what you're looking at. So like if I did this one and came over here, it would be here. But if I did this, see what I mean? It does a very blendy wet look. So if we did this and grabbed some of this, brought this up, grab some of these, and do the mix, it's very, very good. Like an extremely good like smudge look. So this is a way better looking smudge tool than the smudge tool, because it literally takes the pixels of the picture that you already took and like, you know, I know that helps draw it to, yes. So that's actually a good point. We can do that here in a second. I'll get a nice fine kind of like a G ink or G pen or whatever they call it. And we'll go over and we will define maybe the eyes, right? Sharper edge eyes. So yeah, it's about that contrast, right? No, you're absolutely right. And please, hell, I spout nonsense for a living. So, but no, you're absolutely right. And like, see the things I like right here. Let me grab that. Smudge this out. See, this type of thing is worth its weight in gold, because you have the smudge, it turns that edge into a lost edge, and it keeps the canvas texture. That right there is money in the bank. This is the type of stuff that I think is like next level. Truly next level. And see, we're not going to touch that anymore. That's exactly where I want it. That's exactly how I want it. It may not even be in the right spot, but I don't care. I like how that looks, so we're not going to touch it, right? Same thing here. You can see I did a few of the sketch things on the sides here, and then like a few of them right here just to kind of test. Same thing. So then what we can do, let's come back to the sketch. Let's do this. Let's come back to, here's Monog. Monog has great ink brushes. Boom. Boom. Yeah, some sharper stuff right there. Let me pull in. Oop. Where are... Hey, there it is. So it's actually kind of tricky to get a super high resolution look at this because the game was made back when 720p was like the biggest resolution you could get. But if I come in here with this ink pen, see what I mean? And then you just start... Yeah. See, we're figuring things out. All right now. Right now. Look at that. Yeah, that looks dope. Okay. That's good. Then I need to actually straighten up this. And that way we get this nice juxtaposition, right? Some of these, kind of, some of these there. Just change the weight a little bit on some of these lines. Oh, and that's something else I'm noticing. It looks like they came in with that same type of ink pen and did the squiggles in the hair too, but not with black, but with the darker. So it would be like this. It is funny. I do sense this is kind of giving me Lion Decker study vibes, which is so weird. I did not expect that. Here. Get rid of those. Let me get a little bit lighter. I'm going to get rid of this hair. Even though it's there on the ref, makes it almost look like a cigarette or something. So we're just going to get rid of it. There we go. I like that. And then maybe if we bring this over. Sharpen that a little. Then let's come back to our mixer brush. Take some of that. Go. Same thing here. Bleed it out just a little bit. Right? Where it's just a little over. Little smudgy. Little over. I think I need to sharpen the highlight. I think I'd like need to go for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm gonna do that. Oh, wait. Boom. There we go. That. This. Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. Right. Let's see, I do know. Let's do this. What's up, Mert? Good to see you. Face meant to be more sharp, hair and all that bleeding and the more bleed look, or is it all? So yeah, that's the question. Because that's why I'm so blown away. In fact, let me pull up a cutscene or something from Peace Walker, so you guys can see why I kind of fell in love with the whole vibe of it. You can tell it was the team of 5 illustrators. You know, Yoji Shinkawa was the art director, Ashley Wood is the guest artist, and then there's 3 other people on the team that worked on these. And their styles are so consistent across all of them, but there's small little, like, idiosyncrasies that you can tell who did what painting. But it still works. Never does it feel like somebody's art doesn't fit, you know? Yeah, Peace Walker's genius. Like, it is maybe my favorite visual style for anything ever. Like, because it has everything that you want from a kind of traditional classical painting. You know. But it works. Yeah, let me pull up I'll pull up a cutscene. Because I'll probably get the video flagged, but who cares? Art is important. Talking about it is equally important. Peace Walker AP scene. Yeah, let's see. Okay, yeah, this would be a good one. Because some of them are not suitable for work. Let me do these. Let me get this. For here, let me boom. Let me go ahead and pause the music real quick. I can bring this over here.
Stay away! Don't touch me! Get away!
¿Quién es?
Eche!
No way.
What do we do?
Sandinista's right. I'm looking for someone.
Mi viejo! Shh!
So just the way
They killed nuestro viejo.
mixing the halftones with kind of the
Then that makes
rougher sketch style with
relax. I'm not your enemy.
it's just so sick. Like the whole thing
Is he gone?
is genius.
I'll take whatever you've got.
Yeah, so it's all because Shinkawa is all shadow,
But I prefer
but
cigarettes.
like that's so cool. Mixing that with,
How do I look? A little like El Che, no?
you know, like, do you have the brushstrokes for the smoke?
I came to Costa
It's
Rica.
like, come on, man, that's sick. That's so cool.
You've got no telephoto lens. How do you get your shots?
Telephotos for amateurs. It's all in the timing.
But yeah, so you can see sort of.
Chico!
Tell me
Chico.
what's going on here.
This place is crawling with soldiers.
But see, it's just, you know, taking the pictures, kind of moving them around a little bit. But because of how everything is set up like a painting,
I heard there are security
it works.
guards hired by Codessa.
You know, it works incredibly well.
Papa nowhere. Those guys are...
But yeah, so there's something about it, how it all came together, that I was always just blown away by. And trying to find that right balance of kind of ink brushes with oil brushes, with smudge, with this to try to get like our look, our main thing. Because it's not about being a direct copy. That's not the goal. Like, I don't care about being a Yoji Shinkawa copy. One, I can't. I just can't. I don't have that knowledge. But it's like, okay, pick the things that you like about an artist and integrate them into what you do anyway, and you'll be better off. So my main tablet, this is a Huion Canvas 22. It's a 22-inch touch monitor. This is the version 1. So the pen that I have, the stylus pen that I have, there we go. It actually takes a AA battery, which, you know, works okay. But the volume 2 does not need any battery. And it has more tilt functionality, and the tablet's newer and all that stuff. So I'm probably going to upgrade. I might be a little cheeky and send an email to Huion and be like, listen, I review stuff from my channel. Would you like to send me a Huion so that I can give it the old look-see? But I'll buy it. I mean, it's worth it. They are, you know, XP Pen, Huion. There's a few other companies that are coming up. Zensi Labs, I think they're called. That are very, very good quality. And like a fraction of the cost of a Wacom. Like a Wacom, I've never had good luck with them. Yeah, 27-inch Pro 4K. Dude, I wish, man. Holy crap. And it's funny because literally I think it would kind of level up some stuff. The colors on this monitor, on the art monitor, are very dull, which I think actually hurts my work a little bit because I'm not seeing it as I'm painting. I'm not seeing it completely. I have to like do a merged copy and then like drag it onto my other two monitors. Like I have an HP monitor. It's a 24-inch, I think, right here. And then I have a 27-inch HP monitor, which is the newest one. And the colors on this are great. And the HP is very, very good as well. It just sits a little lower, so I have to like slouch a little bit to like not have glare and all that stuff. But the canvas I like a lot, but everything's flattened a little bit. And I think that might have to do with the anti-glare screen and all this other stuff. But like it's a little flatter as far as values and color than I would like. It's my 20. Yeah, for sure. And really, whatever you learn on is going to work the best. Because it's going to feel the best. You know, it just feels right. And yeah, my first Huion was one of those $60 kind of 16:9 pen tablets. Just the pen one you sit in here. And some days I think that might work better, especially if I'm able to use one of my better monitors to look at the colors and stuff like that. So who knows? I do like the idea of a touch monitor. You know, I think that does... It works well for what I want. But yeah, having the colors not be as vivid is a little bit of a bummer. It really is. So, what have we learned so far? We've learned that Yoji, Shinkawa, and Ashley Wood and all of them are very good. Of course. But I think having canvas background, start off with, you know, the kind of crunchier sketch. Come in with not necessarily values. Because I don't think the values matter so much, which sounds weird to say. But I don't think the traditional way we think about values and how light hits stuff and all that, and how we want to render it and make sure, like, oh, the highlight has to follow the exact shape of the sleeve. I don't think that's true for what this is. So that's a learning curve for me for sure, is to kind of like let go. And then it's cool. I also have a canvas texture on overlay up above this. So then it really kind of drives home that point. But I actually think I like it to where some of the canvas shows through and some of it doesn't. The opaque versus that. So like if we really wanted to crank it, I could do this, but then sort of like mask out some stuff, you know? So like here looks really good and we could keep that kind of textury, but then mask out the stuff around the face and maybe around the immediate part of the hair. But then as we get further out, you know, it's just kind of that balancing act, right? But, okay, to really test this out, let's do a sketch and see if we can kind of do the sort of Shinkawa-esque thing, right? So if we just start with the MA brushes, that. Sharpies and inks. Yes. So that is something I've noticed because I have some of his books, like his sketchbooks, downloaded. All of his concept art looks like fashion photography, or like making the illustration of like, oh, we're gonna walk the runway. We need to see what this looks like draped over the paper doll. You know what I mean? Like it's very paper doll-esque. And then he'll do like his which we might do over here. He'll also, for negative space, he'll make geometric shapes. Like he does a lot of, you know, like rectangles and squares, kind of up and down, kind of going through parts. So that way, if he has like a dark leg and a dark torso, but a really light, like upper thigh area, but then he's working on like a white canvas, what he'll do is he'll just put a square around the background of where the white would be. So it's that checkerboard effect, you know. Ahmed Aldori talks all about checkerboarding. And it's smart. I mean, it's a smart way to go. And let me but yeah, you can see like the checkerboard type of stuff here. This one's kind of more style than functionality. Well, I guess the hair kind of works that way. If you have the white ear, you have that, right? And then like up here. Yeah, very much. And yeah, he does a vast majority of his stuff traditional. And then he'll come back and do some of the halftone and things like that, digital. But yeah, him working loose and traditional, definitely that's 85%, you know. That's true, yeah. That's kind of what I was going to do here, is like, you know, we have something like this, and this is all kind of shadow shape, right? The eyes and the nose and the kind of... So I could try... I'll move this over. But I could try something like this. And then since it's me, I can do like a Viking or something. then, you know, have that work. So it's like we have there we go. That's the one I wanted. That. Yeah, we can keep that. It's like do like a straight on shot here. And then like a nose right here. Yeah, that's true. He is very much kind of the key art, marketing art kind of thing, right? So if we have like this. Let's say he had a big mustache, almost like a revolver ocelot thing. Would be the shadow. I'm gonna come in and we'll make some marks first, and then we'll come back in and I'm gonna fix it here in a little bit. It's funny, just doing this, it makes every character look like Snake anyway. Working on the eyeshadow and the, you know, that type of thing. It's funny because I feel like I need to find the structure first, and then I could come in and do shadow shapes afterwards. So like, do this. kind of the fur pelt thing. And another thing that I've noticed with Shinkawa, he is a master of midtones, because it's almost like he does the shadows first, then puts in the midtones like his gray or whatever. And then he doesn't put any highlights because the canvas is the highlight, right? This has to type. But then we can like see, like getting arms in or something. Yeah, and this is kind of going for that kind of paper doll look, right? And maybe let's come over here. We could add one of those squares like that, you know? Something like that. Round. See this. Since this is kind of shadow. Oh, thank you so much. It's funny, I feel like I kind of have an idea of what this design should be, but also like, should the fur go all around his neck? Or should it have like a cutout right here? And like, what does that mean for the beard? You know? That type of thing. Like, that's the thing I think that I guess would be underrated about Shinkawa, is Shinkawa just knows. He's just gonna figure it out. Like, you know, especially coming, yeah, from like a fashion background. You gotta work fast, man. That's... Yeah, it's you can't halfway it. It needs to be completely spontaneous, or yeah, I think that's accurate. And I think that's why I kind of struggle with the idea of it, is because I like to plan kind of the idea, but then whenever I get in there, I like to kind of mix it up and, oh, what's this? And let's try this and let's try this. This is very committal, especially because he uses ink. Once it's on there, it's on there. You got to make it work, you know. Um so then if I like come in with the values and then we hit like, let's see. So like in this, yeah, see, he just has that kind of gray green look, like some splatters. And then yeah, Ashley Wood has a lot of monochromatic, you know, a lot of monochrome. See how big the shadow shapes are. Yeah, and like here, it's so messy. But like maybe that might be what this is. Something like this, where you have the darker midtone on everything, and then you come back in with kind of the chalk look, and like make it happen, you know. So let's try that. Let's go over here, values. Let's grab some flap traps. Let's do some Richard Anderson brushes. Go over, there we go. Yeah, here we go. Then we have like, you know, that's funny. It just looks like Snake again now. It's like not even a different character anymore. It's just, that's Snake. Put an eye patch on him, and there you go. Actually didn't turn out too bad. It's like to have everything very like gestural. And maybe now I come in with the harder ink brush and to do some stuff, you know. That actually, like, It's a poor man's version, but like I can kind of see it, you know. It's just need a little bit more grit on a few of these brushes. Maybe see if we get like a. Is there maybe a more dry brush? There is the brushes right there. Here. White. White. Really embrace that negative line a little bit. I come over and like it's funny in the brush pack. I think what I'll do is I'll name some of these brushes like Peace Walker 1, Peace Walker 2. That way I'll remember like, oh yeah, if I want to get that sort of vibe, I'll pick these brushes. Sprinkle a little bit of and maybe Japanese ink brush. I don't think I did. Let me grab those. And Chinese ink. Long hairs. Oh. Gotta have some splatter brushes, bro. Those, right? To get the look. Oh wow, the small version of this is great because it's like a razor blade. That's nice. And if we come up a little bit, a little more. Actually, that looked better without the... That's the other thing. I need to keep some of these open. You know? Because that sort of inferred look works pretty well. So let's come over to the mixer brush. Boom. Let's grab ourselves... grab some of Daniel's brushes. Let's do that Daniel Ibanez brush real quick. Just take a look, see. Do the Richard Anderson. Decent splatter brushes. This. Let me get... Minog's inks again. And we will come in and really hit this with some black ink. Same thing here. And I will say it's kind of a cheap trick, but the little squiggles with the ink pen actually works really well. Nice, crisp looking, like, it's a good way to get that look. Yeah, this is like a fun way to work because it's so outside of my normal way that I think. Wife sending me some freelance job opportunities she saw. Always open to those. You know. So I think the belt was a neat idea. I don't think it works. So we'll do this the old-fashioned way. Get rid of it. Figure out. Need to do this beard part over again. Maybe I do something like that and then like shadow shapes. Seems like anytime I put in a shadow shape, it improves the style. Like, I wonder if it's just my brain is trained to see style like this, and I think of like Shinkawa or like Richard Anderson or something, and that's what they do, is they do a lot of really strong shadow shapes. But like, it does help. Thank you so much. Yeah, I need to get the beard. I think the beard needs to be bigger, maybe? So I wonder if I can do like this. Expand this out a little. Same thing out here. Feel like it needs to kind of go up into the face like that. Like be a little bigger. So with that, I got rid of that black line because what I've noticed, you know, over here there's some strong black lines and stuff, but here, that negative space, like that patch, but since it's like completely white, but it's still the shape, you can, you know, see it clearly contrasted against halftones. It's really interesting. Like, and like, yeah, here. Light. Funny, it's not the exact same pose, but like interesting. As long as it kind of looks in the same wheelhouse, you know, I'm happy with it. Yeah, this is just, I mean, Snake has the little beard, but it's kind of like how mine is. It's kind of closer to the face. Like you can see, catches light, catches light, catches light. Mine kind of does too, but not maybe as severe. Let me see if... Rick, what's up, brother? Oh, we're cranking through, man. We are... They're going for it. No, we're in the thick of it. We're doing the thing, you know. But yeah, we're just practicing out. We're testing some brushes, trying to like figure out how we can mix some nice oil paint with some ink, with some simplifying of forms and shadow shapes and tones. Kind of looking at the Yoji Shinkawa Ashley Wood-esque, you know, way of thinking. Just trying to train our brain a little bit. Because yeah, like these are unbelievably good. And I don't want to be the exact copy, but I do want to kind of get a feel for that kind of gimmick, you know. Is this for the comic? Kind of, yes. In a roundabout way, yes. But really what this is, I'm trying to put together some, like, I'm not quite wrapping up the brush pack for 2026, but like I have the overall vibe of what it is. But I need to put in some brushes like this, because I will be using the 2026 brush pack kind of, forever. So getting some stuff like this where I can easily just have everything I need all in one brush pack, and that way you guys can have it to play around with too. So we're going through hundreds, literally. Let me, if I bring up the Michael Adomitis brushes again. Just going through a lot of these. Kind of figuring out what works, what doesn't. I'm definitely going to be putting more canvas brushes. Like literal brushes that, if you, for instance... palette knives. Oh, I needed... There it is. There's the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of brushes. Where's my canvas ones? Trees. More brushes, more. Should be a canvas category. A few of these are real baller. There's a fan brush. Even textured. Flats. Portraits. Light oils. Low brush filbert. Fine brushes. Sketch. Okay. Probably down here. Leaves. Flowers. Scratchy strokes. Canvas. Here we go. Something like these. And then you kind of get a white color. See what I mean? Getting some of these brushes to where you can just kind of come in and glaze a little bit. And you're going to get texture, canvas texture on brushes that didn't have it to begin with. So like this type of thing, really sells some ideas. There are so many of the, and this is the second, I have both of his brush packs. They're very, very, very good, but they are a lot, they are a lot. So, but that's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm trying to find the best of the worlds of that. Because, I mean, we have the Ashley Wood and Yoji Shinkawa stuff, but also we have, like, the Joel Lagerwall. Very mixer brush heavy, But I think that's also important. Because the brush pack is going to be this. It's going to be a very... I decided to go more of the traditional stuff, but have the bite of digital, which is a weird way to think about it, but it's almost like neo-traditional digital brushes. Like it's almost, they're almost an exaggeration of it in like a hyper fixated way. Because like I was explaining at the beginning of the stream, there are certain things that I become obsessed with. And where is it here? There's certain just things. And like it could be a happy accident, maybe a 2-second thing that the artist did without thinking about it. But then I get absolutely like unhealthily obsessed with. I thought there was one here. I mean, there's a few, some of these opaque brushes near the canvas brush texture. But really, ironically, I was able to do one earlier in the stream. And it was this. So mixing the oil brush with the wet ink stuff with a smudge brush to get this kind of lost edge is like, and like stuff like this. If I were to try to like, yeah, and like here where it literally looks like you take a thumb and then you go, boom. Like, just scrape your thumb across it. That's what I want. And it's not just a smudge brush, it's not just a mixer brush, it has to be all of it together. But that's my type of goal for the new brush pack. Is like, where you will have everything you need in order to do that, all in one place. See, because I kind of tested it out up here too. You know? That's the vibe. So, yeah, like, really go for it instead of like, oh, look at this impasto, which I love. I still love it, don't get me wrong. But like, it's the other direction. I don't want stuff coming up off of the canvas. I want it like being ground into the canvas. Like, I just want, that's the look I want. And I think I've decided on that. Because then, if you have that look, that smudgy look, and kind of the gritty on the texture thing, you can activate a texture overlay, make it look really kind of dug in there. But then, yeah, you know what I mean? Where it's really kind of pronounced. But then if you get rid of it, and then you have some opaque, some canvas, some with, some without, it just makes the whole thing look better. You know? Funny, for some reason, I think this looks like Adam Scott, the actor. I didn't do that on purpose or anything, but like... But yeah, so that's sort of the vibe. This is sort of the vibe that we're going for. I think this is more interesting art as far as problem solving, rather than me trying to render out everything. Because yeah, the Spider-Man piece from last week was an absolute failure, I think. There's not much good that came from it. But that's what the next YouTube video. I'm still editing it. It should have been out on Monday, but it'll probably be out Friday. It's about failing. About like, you know, you're working on a thing and it's just not working. What do you do? And like tips on how to deal with it, and then tips on how to avoid it in the future. Or if you're in the middle of a bad painting, like what do you do? So I've recorded everything for it. I just have to edit it and get all the fancy transitions and stuff. But it's going to be about a 25-minute long video, I think. Other apps, is there a specific reason? So there is a specific reason. One, I needed to like, because I think you're right with Rebel and stuff like that. You can like turn on the program and get that look. But one, not everybody has Rebel. A lot of people do have Photoshop. But I wanted to push Photoshop. I was like, I know you can do this. I know you can do this. So playing with these type of brushes that I hardly ever play with in Photoshop, doing the mixer brush, doing a smudge tool, getting the inks, getting all that stuff, to like prove it to Photoshop that it can do it, has been a fun challenge. It's been a fun thing to like make it happen. And to be completely fair, and I know people may disagree with me on it, but I genuinely think this type of look, specifically like down here, might be easier to achieve in Photoshop with a mixer brush. Because there's a certain digital grit that these have, that something like a Rebel or Art Rage or Paintstorm Studio sort of like cleans it up. It sort of takes it and molds it into being more of a cleaner impasto, more of a... Because this is just filthy. It's just like grody looking, aged, archaic. But that is dope. Like, that is some absolute Craig Mullins mixer brush oil painting, Greg Rutkowski. It's its own genre almost. Like, yeah, we have other programs that can do more traditional feeling artwork, but there's something about just the tactile grit of Photoshop. It's not meant to do it, so when it does it in a very weird way, you know. But like, yeah, there's something about it, right? Like, that's just a sick looking, like, yeah, it's hard to do. Yes, I have seen his class, which is what, $500, $600? Ooh, but hey, worth it. You know, I don't have the funds for it right now, but man, talk about him taking a few hundred hours and condensing it into, like, what did he say, 7 or 8 hours of like pure class material. Yeah. So it's funny, if we went, and like, to wrap up, how long have we been going? About 2 hours, 17 minutes? Okay, I'll go for another 30 minutes or so. I gotta go pick up the kiddos from daycare and school and stuff today, so gotta do that. But here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this. Watch this. Boop. Let's make this. Let's do a little study of this and try to get these grays and try to get these mixer brush, because that, yo, Fake Alky, how are you? Welcome, welcome. So yeah, here's what we had so far doing the training. You know, just doing just the little experiment stuff. Found some good sketch brushes, which is good. But like, let's go ahead and do ourselves a solid study of this real fast. It's not going to be pretty, but that's kind of the point. That's sort of the point I want to make. Let's just grab this. Let's come up here. No color picking. We're just going to kind of look. Kind of that dull look right there. So if we come up here. We kind of have this, you know, has some nice little color jitter. And these are just, this is just straight up the MA brush pack. And then we're going to kind of come here, stay relatively in the same monochromatic sort of range, right? This. Once again, shadow shapes, you know. We're going to do that. We're going to kick that over. It's a little wrong. It's actually a little more green than it is. Well, maybe. I got to get rid of some of this around here. Darker. I have something like this, okay? I'll just kind of do a one-to-one. We do this, kind of bring in shadow shapes. It's funny because I was kind of talking earlier, like this sort of Renaissance-esque Cezanne sort of painting stuff is actually very close to the Shinkawa stuff because it's very focused on the shadow shapes, you know? That, yeah, we're not going to be kind of exactly right, but bring in some of this. We're actually going to kind of this up a little. Get those. This up. I'll probably pick another brush here in a second. Let's say we're coming through here. And once we get to the mixer brush, that's going to be where this thing really starts to like look right. You know what I mean? Here. A little more saturation. No, these are not exactly right. Just to kind of give me a map to work with, you know? That. Come up here to big flats. Big pop of pumps right there. So it's funny because this is more my wheelhouse. Like, I can sort of fly by the seat of the pants type stuff with this. You know, in here, we'll kind of do this. We'll desaturate a little bit. Put it around the same. Bitter and bristle. Yeah. Yeah, and that might be the thing we do next time on stream is kind of play with the bristle and the dirty, because I know there's actually a dirty brush feature on there, and I think that's going to be the closest we get to like a mixer brush is the dirty brush, you know? These in here. It's funny, the only reason we're doing all this is so we can do the mixer brush in a minute. So you guys can see what I'm talking about the weird kind of fake reel that Photoshop does. So I know this is kind of a long-winded way to get there, but you need all of this, like not the whole painting, but you need a lot of these values and all that stuff to get there, you know, to do that. So that's kind of what we're those. Like I said, it's not the exact values and hues and all that stuff, but I actually don't care too much about all that. Just know that this is a very Zorn palette. This is a very Anders Zorn, you know, ivory black, titanium white, yellow ochre, and cad red. You can get any of these colors with that. In fact, I think that's exactly the palette used for this one. Here. It's funny because this is kind of exactly how I would paint it on a traditional canvas too. Need some of this. Okay. So then we're going to come up here. Some of that right there. It's very important that we get the values at least comparable. That's going to really allow the effect to hit pretty good whenever we get there. That here. This, you bring these in, and shadow shapes, you know. We're getting there. It's almost to where I want it to be to get the right effect. Because once you see how the mixer brushes work with this, it's like, oh, that's how you do that. In Photoshop, at least. You know. And that's kind of the thing we talked about with the Yoji Shinkawa look that we did earlier, is like, it's one thing to do a study, kind of like what we're doing right here. We're looking at a thing, we're kind of, yeah, that goes here, that's about right, that's, you know. But to be able to do it from imagination at such an expressive level is a different deal entirely, you know. It is on another level. Get some messiness in here. Mine's a little more brown, a little more warm than that one, but oh well. We got some of these brushes here. Okay. So yeah, we're getting there. See, that's a nice, really sharp shape, but we're going to be blending that out on the side of the face here. So this is basically just to get some variety. These tones on the canvas. Okay. So got those, pick, bring that down a little more even. So yeah, I mean, this is good enough for, you know, good enough for government work. You should be able to get the gist, right? So, have that. So you see, some of the brushes work well. Oh, they work well together anyway. Kind of all the painterly brushes sort of work well. The real secret, make this happen. Let me move that out of the way so you guys can get the full thing of this. We get the mixer brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and just pick. Just any random brush, okay? And I am going to get that and then come in here and I'll just pick random brushes, okay? Maybe like up here more circular, because it's a mix of a smudge and it's very bizarre, and it's like hard to explain because it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like you're really using, you know, natural paint or anything. In fact, it feels kind of fake. But the look it gives is very distinct. Very distinct. You know, because you can like really kind of smudge it all up. See, you come in like that, and then you can come back in with the more aggressive, like painterly brushes, and you can kind of put in for detail, then come back to the mixer brush, and you do something like this. You can see we'll kind of smudge over here. And it's like a very hyper not quite correct thing. And then let's see, yeah, if we do like this. There's just something about it, and there's something about how it feels. And then yeah, you get something like this, which just takes what you have and it adds and smears a little bit of the canvas into it. You can't really get that anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very Photoshop thing. Just the way it works is kind of surreal. But of course, there was way more time spent on the original, and yeah. This, bring in that smudge, get some white, bring that in, hit there, smudge. You know what I mean? And then if we want to sharpen that edge, we can grab that. So yeah, that kind of nice mix of the very loose painterly stuff, and then you come in, you smudge out some stuff, you blend it in a little, then you come back in with kind of a very opaque brush. I mean, this is kind of what we were doing on the Yoji Shinkawa stuff, right? So it's funny to be able to use those same techniques in a way to make something that looks very different. But the premise is the same, you know, very strong shadow shapes and it's amazing how that type of stuff like works together. What's up, Steph? Good to see you, my friend. And then we grab some white. Real hits. Be a little much, but it's fine. And see, this is more my wheelhouse. Like, this is the type of stuff that I'll just go and be able to play around and all that stuff. And then let's say you come up over here, hit that. We just grab the normal deal, and then you just grab like canvasy brush type thing. There's leaves, canvas brush. Wait, where was it? There it is. Yeah, canvas brush. Get the white. Come in right here. Gonna bring some of that in. To these different areas. And it gives it that archaic, like very weathered. Let's do that light one right here. See what I mean? You just kind of come through here. The skin color. But mixing these kind of like optical illusion effects can do wonders to make it look, you know, however way. Yeah, it just gives it that vibe and that feel. So Photoshop does that better than I think any program, because at the end of the day, Photoshop was not made to make traditional looking paintings. So what it is it's a very hyper sensitive program. Like, that's why Craig Mullins is one of the goats, right? Because he mixed the photo bashing with this type of painting with his normal traditional stuff. But you look at it and like he uses Rebel now. Like Craig was on the beta test team. Like we all, we were all using it and giving feedback and all that stuff. So it was crazy to have him kind of be one of the main purveyors of, how does Rebel feel. But there's still something about his Photoshop stuff that like you can't get anywhere else. And that's why I wanted to make the upcoming 2026 brush pack. I wanted to make it primarily in Photoshop to get this kind of look, because I think it's weird. Like it's interesting to look at. It's not quite the traditional Rebel experience. It's not Art Rage. It's not Clip Studio or Krita. While they do very good at like getting the impasto and kind of the canvas layers and stuff, there's something about the dry scratchiness almost of this that I don't really think you can get anywhere else. And, as I was looking and, our last week's Spider-Man was not a good painting. And I was like, well, what is my deal? Like, why am I having the issues? And I think it's because I'm approaching my stuff in a way that's not natural. I've been approaching stuff lately because I've had to do a lot of rendering for clients. I'm doing a lot of like digital art, like hard round brush and, color dodge for highlights. And I don't know if that makes sense, but like this is more my wheelhouse because it's easy. To me, this is how I learned to paint. I learned to paint like this whenever I was like 15. I went to college, painted like this for hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of hours. Did life drawings, so like this and master studies of like Rembrandt. Yeah, I can do those. So maybe finding a way to learn to simplify in this Yoji Shinkawa, Ashley Wood, Peace Walker way. And like even with the quote unquote fake like these brushes are not natural. These rake brushes don't exist really. Right? And like the halftone textures and stuff. So this is still very much a digital piece. But like you gotta be a well-trained machine to be able to knock them out like this. And Yoji Shinkawa is just that, right? This is a very traditional feel, very impressionistic, see? But I wouldn't call this natural. I wouldn't call it traditional. It's its own thing. And like, yeah, even if this stuff is with an ink pen and it is traditional and you have an ink wash and stuff like that, I still wouldn't refer to it as that. It's this super stylized, very good shadow shape. I think this is it. Like, embrace more of this, and like I said, this, I'm going to just outright steal this for something. Because this is dope. Like, I love that look. This is Ashley Wood, I can almost guarantee you. But it all comes from the same project. And seeing 5 artists nail that look gave me confidence. Like, oh, there's a way to do this. And not even just for a comic, but like in general. Because like, this is a painting. I guarantee you this is a painting. It's Ashley Wood through and through. But like, there's energy there. And like, yeah, looking at stuff like this where it kind of mixes the traditional rendering with kind of the sketchier stuff right here. And then, yeah, Joel Lagerwall, this is very much a, yeah, it's that wheelhouse, the smudge brushes and the mixer brush with the, there's something to it. There's a meat in the middle that I think I could kind of hone in on, but I need to do it. I need to like stop trying to render like, well, the light hits here and then it does this, so it has to be a soft light and it has to like The more I do that, the worse my stuff is, I think. Which is ironic, because I think it's gotten me more big jobs. Like Magic and, you know, like Troll Lord games and stuff. Like, I think I'm better at this stuff. I think I'm better at the oil paint, get the canvas texture, make it look stylized and stretch that reality a little bit and like do it more. Yeah, do more of this, basically, you know. Because this just feels natural. I don't even have to think about it. It's like, oh, I'll just, you know, change the hue a little bit, change the value up or down, kind of mold the face a little. And Kendrick, what's up? What about Affinity Photo? I haven't used it lately. I don't think I've actually used it for a painting since version 2 came out. So I need to go back to it. I know it can import Photoshop brushes and stuff, and I think it actually has a pretty decent wet brush engine, if I remember right. So I need to dig into it more. Yeah, I need to like actually sit down with it, you know. So, what's up, Beef? So it's funny you say that. Some of the brushes in the 2026 brush pack are going to be specifically that, like weathering brushes. And like, oh, here's a little bit of canvas texture. Here's a little bit of like, you know, a little bit of juice, a little bit of spice on the food. You know what I mean? Because that's sort of what I'm really liking lately. You know, because like I said, I could paint like this all day. There's no stress. I'm not worried about it. It's comfortable. But whenever I try to come in and like do the Spider-Man thing, like I did last week, it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. And if the image is not living up to the hype, if it, you know, if it's buckling under its own nonsense, I get bored very quickly. But here, I can just have fun. I can just come in and put some things here and put some things there. So maybe this is kind of the answer. You know? Because then, like I said, we can really, if we really want to amp this up and make it look like the, you know, like the painting, you just overlay another texture. And see, now it's super intense. But you can always, like, lower that down. Wrong one. You can take this and lower this down. Make it look a little more believable. See what I mean? Makes it work well. But then the real secret would be, I like the fact that some of the paint strokes hide the canvas and some of them don't, which is how we got the nice little canvas texture that we can just kind of scrape over top, almost like a scumble. We go like scrape it like with a knife. And that way we get that look without having to worry about it. We can always come back in later and add that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think I think that's kind of it. I think that's sort of the study today. So we actually got a lot of good stuff from this. And like I said, it's not about being an exact copy of Yoji or of Ashley or anybody. It's more about just seeing the thing that resonates. So like the very good silhouette shapes, good shadow shapes, very dark shadows. Not super worried about form. You know, I would say there's not a lot of form in these pieces. Form meaning actually rendering out the way things turn away from you and like all that. I don't think that's as important. At least for kind of the thing that I'm wanting. Like definitely here, I mean, there's light, there's a highlight, there's a Terminator line, there's a mid-tone. It still follows those rules. But it's very shape-based. It's very kind of silhouette-y. you know? And then you have that nice white hit right here, the highlight, but then it's a lost edge. Pardon me. So you have things like lost edges, but with an ink pen. Instead of having to come in and do all the fancy brushwork stuff, you have the same idea, but you simplify it. You know, and there's your spotlight highlights right here. Just a square white brush, bam, bam, bam. You hit them in and out. You're in and out. And see, like, the form isn't necessary here. Like, yeah, the anatomy's fine. The arms make sense. The bend right here. Hands on his thigh. His knee is up. We can tell what's happening. But do you think Ashley Wood cared enough to, like, well, he has to be 7 heads tall, and I need to measure out the this and the this and the this. Like, I don't think he's worried about it. You know, and like the big example, the one that I brought up earlier, and I'll bring it up again, but it just kind of illustrates it. With Paws, you have the highlight coming from the side, but it doesn't exactly follow the sleeve, right? It doesn't follow, oh, here's a rain hood, because this is like a hood that you bring over. It's not highlighting every fold. It's not worried about, like, so here's highlight. Let's see how it breaks through the line. And then some of the lines break through the hair. Then you get the darker value where, like, the cast shadow is. But it's not exactly following the form. Like, I think that's what we learned from this. In all of these. It's like, it doesn't have to be... You know, she's a 16-year-old girl, so very smooth skin, but very sharp shadows and like sharp highlight, which, you know, Brent brought up a good point earlier where it's like a mirror image of the profile, but like stretched and kind of stylized. But it's not an exact one-to-one. Like, you can get away with a lot. If you have the viewer work for their meal, and like the Ashley Wood stuff right here, you know, you see a sword. Did he render out the hand holding the sword? No, it doesn't matter. There's a liquid snake. You got the light of the nose. You got the awesome shadow shapes. Then you got the shadow of the silhouette of that hair. The jacket, you know, trench coat right there. But like white hair. Just the overall shape of Metal Gear front face. It's super clean. It's super smart. It's designed well. Got these nice little silhouette things here. The silhouette shapes. That way you can keep your silhouette light without having to draw a bunch of lines. So there's a lot to learn. A lot to kind of keep in mind. You know, and then if we bring this stuff back in, you know, us kind of experimenting, doing the splotchies, kind of bringing in shadow shapes, seeing what we got, and doing the pause study. The eyes are off and stuff, but that's fine. It wasn't about that. It was more about trying to figure out all the brushy type stuff that we can get away with. So overall, I'd say a good study day. Like, decent studies. Then we got this one right here, yeah, not bad. I'm not mad at it, you know? Yeah, not mad at it. So there we go. Canvas textures, different blending modes. Yeah, that's a secret weapon. Like, getting the canvas stuff and just barely scraping it, like barely scrape, It's very, very good. It's a fun way to reintroduce some of that traditional with some of that traditional with whatever you have on your canvas. Doesn't matter what your style is, if you do flats, if you do geometric shapes, whatever. It adds some grit. I also have some like grunge brushes, and I think I'm going to include some of the grunge brushes in the 2026 brush pack because I found that they give you a little bit of stuff to play with. You're not necessarily going to like paint with them, but it is going to be something to add variety. And it can maybe spice up a piece that's not working. You can maybe do an overlay layer or some sort of like hard light, color dodge, something with a grunge brush, splatter it on top and see what happens. Which I think would be fun. You know, just kind of play around, make stuff that looks cool. And I think that's what we're going to be embracing kind of more and more of is the rule of cool. And I know I've talked about it before and then I get bogged down in trying to like render out stuff again. And I need to just drop it. I need to not worry about that. And then just start mixing in that kind of looser oil painting a la Prima look with maybe some more direct line work. I think that might be where we get our next level up and start making some stuff that really looks cool. Because that way the details don't matter as much. The details won't matter if the whole mood of it is this more oil painting, Renaissance era sketch, but have that be the finish. Like be able to bring that, not render it out necessarily. Like it would even be less rendered than like a Frank Frazetta or something like that. But have that be the look. Because a lot of people, it's funny, with Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker and Portable Ops, which is really the thing that kind of started that look that I like so much. A lot of people hated it. A lot of people were like, why do you have this half-finished comic book? And then I always thought that was hilarious because I was like, this is way harder to do, in my opinion, than like the finished comic art with the, you know, I mean, they're both very difficult. Don't get me wrong. I'm no comic book artist. I would never will be. I'm just not. My brain doesn't work that way. But like to keep it fluid and dynamic, but also be able to tell the story and like have the energy of a sketch the whole way through is damn near impossible. Because as artists, I mentioned it earlier, but as artists, we have a bad tendency to want to fix things. We want to fix it. Oh, that's not what I had in mind. That's not quite right. I need to fix it. If you took one of your favorite pieces by whoever artist, Frank Frazetta, you know, Andrew Zorn, Caravaggio, Raphael, whoever you like, or a digital artist or whatever, and you open that file and looked at it in your copy of Krita or Photoshop on your monitor, and then you like take a step back and you kind of like, you know, work out the cobwebs, and then you're like, okay, imagine this is my painting. Imagine I'm working on this painting right now and this is what I have on my canvas. What would happen? You would probably feel the instinct to fix something. You'd be like, well, that highlight's not quite following the shape of the thing. Oh, well, the shadows are kind of not, you know, maybe it's not right like where I want it to be. Maybe they're not quite dark enough. Maybe they're not. And your brain is going to start trying to fix problems. Stop. Like, stop it. Don't fix it. The reason why you love the piece that you opened in your program is because it didn't do that stuff. It didn't fully render out. They didn't worry about the colors making sense. They didn't, you know, that's the stuff, that's the good stuff. That's the stuff that you want to hold on to. You can hang your hat on. There's meat on that bone. You know what I mean? Like, you can chew on it. And that's what you need to learn. And that's what I'm trying to learn is like, okay, they use ink wash. They're very committal. It's very fluid and dynamic. Very heavy on the shadow shapes. Does not give a rat's ass about rendering correctly. Who cares? We need this to be light. We need that to be dark. Get rid of those edges. Get rid of that. Like, it's a lot of taking away things. We're not adding. We're like taking away. We're removing things. We don't need the rendering. Get rid of it. You know, and I think there's some secret sauce there. Because where I start to run into problems and I start getting up in my head and I start doing this is I try to render out things too much. I try to get in there and like make it right. But I don't need to make it right. I need to make it good. And there's a difference to that, I think. I think and I need to like come to terms with it. I need to come to peace with it. Like if it looks good, don't touch it. Like just quit it. Like stop messing with it and move on. You know, and maybe working on a short story or like a comic panel style thing or like a PDF file of a world building thing might be good because I won't have time to like, I'm going to make everything about this painting look exactly right. Like, no. Just get the intent down and then move on to the next one. Then move on to the next one. You know, people like John Singer Sargent were very deliberate in how they studied and how they painted. Yeah, especially John Singer Sargent. He took a lot of time. He would take months and months and months on a painting, but not because he was rendering it, but because he was trying to simplify it down to its absolute essence. And be like, okay, I'm going to take 2.5 hours and maybe do 2 brush strokes because I need to look at this thing and then analyze what it actually needs, what it doesn't need. So he's doing a lot of problem solving, not on the canvas. He's solving the problem before he puts the brushstroke down. So it's still very deliberate, but he's not super worried about making sure the rendering is exactly. It doesn't matter. You know, like, I think there's some power into that. And yeah, exactly. Like, let them live. Let those mistakes breathe. You know, Neil Gaiman said that, you know, mistakes or style is the mistakes that you keep. And I think that's true. I think that's absolutely valid. Because that's going to be the thing that differentiates your art from somebody else's. You know what I mean? Yeah, more with less. Exactly. I'm more impressed with a 1.5 minute long song that's just a banger rather than a 17-minute long magnum opus, whatever. Because, like, over 17 minutes, you're going to make something that sounds good, hopefully. You know, at somewhere in those 17 minutes. It's like, nowadays, every movie's like 3 hours long. Give me a tight 75-minute movie. Hour 15. Get in, get out, be impactful. That is an absolute masterclass skill to have. All these 3.5 hour long movies, yeah, hopefully you have 1 or 2 good scenes in there. Lord knows you have enough time. You know, like, get in and get out. And I think that might be the adage of we don't need all the good sketching and right rendering and the colors to be perfect and the values to be right on point. Like, maybe none of that matters. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe just getting some marks down, making that emotion come through. You know, if it looks good, it is good type of mentality. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the secret to leveling up again. Got so caught up in like the other stuff that like, no, maybe just going in, putting down some loose brush strokes, mixing some stuff, smudging some stuff, adding some canvas here and there. We're good. Yeah, the 90-minute film is a lost art form for sure. But I think that is my time. Hey, we hit the 3-hour mark. Yay. We hit 3 hours this time. So I appreciate you all hanging out. It's been a lot of fun. I do think we learned quite a bit. Figured out that I really like ink brushes. Who would have known, right? Really like how those look, especially going over the more sketchy brush. So I think in the brush pack, We're going to have a few like sketchy canvas brush type things for pencils. Then we're going to have ink brushes for the harsher razor blade-esque stuff that still has a little bit of like splatter on the tail, a little bit of grit in the canvas stuff. That way they work really well together. And then I think it's going to be a lot of kind of the tradigital brushes. We're definitely going to have some hard rounds. We're going to have, you know, the angled brushes and stuff. But really, we're going to have a lot of the texture brush, maybe some dry textures. You know, I think that would be good. Canvas textures for sure. So yeah, I bet we get like a 25 to 30 brushes in this brush pack. Because once again, I want to condense it down to just the greatest hits, man. Just like each one of these is going to be a rockstar workhorse brush. But then you put them together and then it's going to be a whole nother level. That's the goal, because I'm going to be using the 2026 pack a lot. Like, all I really use of mine right now is the 2025 pack. Every once in a while, I'll dabble in the older ones. But I always make it a thing for myself. Every time I only make one brush pack a year now. I need to use that brush pack for that year. So, like, the 2026 brush pack, I'm going to be using all of 2026. Like, those are the ones, right? But yeah, I think having some nice, like, kind of melty oils in there with the nice sharp ink brushes, the splatter brushes, the grungy look, the canvas stuff, the scrapey brush. There's going to be a lot of like impact on these that maybe I shied away from in previous years because I needed the more render. Oh, this is a pro brush pack, so everything you need as a professional digital artist, your airbrushes, your, you know, your hard rounds, your soft rounds, but maybe we're going to go the other direction again. I think my last time I did that was 2022. It was a very traditional heavy brush pack. But I think this one will be more condensed and better. It's just going to be a better brush pack because it's like, I don't know. You can only make a diamond with pressure, right? Like, it's condensed down and it's like, it's such a, like, yeah, it's heavy, it's dense, it's tiny. Give me 25 good brushes that I could use every day for the rest of my life, and yo, I'll be happy. So I think that's the goal for the 2026 brush pack. And hopefully I nail it. Hopefully I get there with it. But yeah, trying to think if we're going to do a game stream tomorrow or maybe another art stream. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think I should do another art stream? Because I think we started cooking a little bit on this one, and then we had to cut it, you know. Maybe dig into some more of those brushes. We can do that. Yeah, man. Playing some Phantasy Star Online. I'm loving it. It's great. It's a super relaxing, like, I mean, I had problems with the puzzle, the penguin, what are they called? Cappies? The flappies? The birds? Rappies, that's what they're called. I had problems with that puzzle, but now that I know it, now that I like understand the logic, I can probably do them. But yeah, so we got that. We got some other games, some Japanese role-playing games, some cool chill-out games that way. We have some of those. Community challenges and member art evaluations. Yes, we will be doing those. Actually, we might be doing those in October. Because I know we got some, I know next week, I'm going to do a few art streams next week as well. Probably not on Wednesday. Wednesday, the kiddos' schools are closed. They have teacher in-service work days, so I'll have the kids home with me. But I might do the art stream Tuesday and then Thursday, you know. But really what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out an announcement on the socials, but also on Discord, and have people submit stuff. And I don't know if it should just be like an art overview, like, hey, here's the community, here's everybody, you know, we do have a challenge, here's the idea, so go for it. Or if it should be, hey, if you're having a problem with a piece, submit it, let me know what you'd like me to look at, and we can look at it on stream together, you know. So yeah, I will have mentorships open. Trying to think of when, because I want a thing on my website that actually has a calendar where you'll be able to book time. And then it'll be kind of an hour-long blocks. You can do multiple hours at the same time. You can do kind of however you want. And then it'd be like payment up front. I think it'd be like $50 an hour-ish in US dollars. So whatever that conversion rate looks like. But it could be about anything. It could be about like portfolio reviews. It could be about, hey, I'm trying this technique, you know. So yeah, I do want to open that. I think that'd be a cool way to give people very direct feedback, specifically about what their goal is. And yeah, my main thing is like, I need to upgrade my my portfolio a little bit. It's been a little, you know, of course, the stuff I've been working on I can't show yet. So once that comes out, I'll be able to put up the magic art. I'll be able to put that stuff up. So that'll beef it up a little bit. But like, I need to do more personal art for the portfolio specifically. Like, I think that's kind of a big one that I need to do. So yeah, we'll do another art stream tomorrow. I think that'll be fun. We'll dig into more of kind of the oil painting look. We'll dig into that with the Photoshop, kind of see how that works. If we can make it look pretty convincing. But thank you for hanging out. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I appreciate you all. And we'll see you tomorrow. Probably about the same time, maybe a little earlier. But yeah, I will have a bunch of info on the mentorship stuff, probably sign up stuff on the website whenever it goes live. I just have to be sure I can block out the scheduling for it and then make that scheduling live on the calendar where you can actually like sign up for time slots and stuff. So working that out is going to be just part of it, you know? Yeah. So yeah, I would say 50 an hour or so, you know, cause it really depends. If it's more arduous than that, then it's probably going to take longer blocks of time anyway. You know what I mean? And then we can look at it. But no, I think 50 an hour is fair because you'll get, you know, very direct feedback. And also, I want to keep the stuff fairly affordable. You know, I need it to be high enough to where people are serious about it. Like, people that genuinely want dedicated feedback, like want that. But also I don't want it to be so expensive that nobody can get it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I'm a struggling artist just like everyone else. And not like monetarily, but like as in the skill set of artwork. Like, I don't have all the answers. So it would be unrealistic to be like $300 an hour. Like, no, that's preposterous. No, but I think 50 an hour is about right. Because I do have pro experience. I do have people that I know in the industry, networking, all that stuff. And then like, if push comes to shove, if I get slammed with so many bookings, it'd be a good problem to have, but then I might have to up the rate just to like keep the sanity of it. You know what I mean? But I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, I would say 50. If I were to kind of average it out, I would say 50 an hour is probably the rate that we're going to go with. So if you want to budget it out or kind of whatever, you could do that. And then, yeah, we'll make it work. But, yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of cool stuff that we went over today. Very happy with it. Excited to paint, which is always a good thing. That doesn't always happen. Yeah, right. Like, because a session, you know, and the thing is, if I become a chatty Cathy and I chat for an hour and a half with you, I'm still just going to charge you the 50 for the hour. because that's what we blocked out. But then if I go over, that's on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I work. So no, I ain't gonna charge someone extra because I went over because I got way into the weeds or something. Like, I think like, yeah, $50 an hour. If you block out a 2-hour session, that's $100. But that 2-hour session could be a 3-hour session. It just depending on how it works. But you wouldn't be charged the extra. Like, no, because that'd be on me, right? And like, I'm not the type of person to be like, I'm in the middle of a sentence, but oh, your time ran out, I'm ending the call. Like, that seems stupid. It's just not fair. So no, it's about the mentorship. It's not about the money. You know what I mean? It's about the connection and that. So yeah, just some thoughts going around. But yeah, that's my time. Appreciate you all very much. We're going to do more stuff tomorrow. We might do another some studies, maybe find some other oily artists that we can kind of look at and try to get in the headspace of. That'll be fun. But that's it for me. You guys have been fantastic, as always. Yeah, go out there, make cool art. I swear the YouTube video's coming about art failure. I promise you, it'll be there. I just need to sit down and edit it and focus. I need to get on with it. All the footage is there. It's going to be about 25 minutes long. I just need to edit it and do the zoom in, zoom outs, and all that text and all that stuff. This is more fun. I'll just put it that way. Like, time spent streaming to all of you live is way more fun than editing YouTube videos. But it is what it is. I got 11,000 subscribers to, watch YouTube videos. So, yeah, you bet. And like, the video on demand will be live on Twitch immediately and on YouTube immediately. So yeah, if you're watching the video on demand, I appreciate you very much for hanging out. I'd love to have you live. I know my time zone is not congruent with everybody, but that's why I want to keep all the VODs up there for free. That way you guys can watch them and get something out of them. And then we can always like fall back to it later. Like 2 years from now, we'll look back on these streams and be like, God, I was awful. Like, those are terrible paintings, It's always fun to do that too. But that's it. You guys go out there, make cool art. See you soon. Actually, we'll see you tomorrow. So have fun.